and I'm wondering what to do to make my life better. I was willing to work hard. That was not my problem. But life just seemingly wasn't, producing the results I wanted at that time in my life. Wondering what to do, and I thought maybe I should go back to school, but with a family, that's a tough decision. I thought, well, if I had a business of my own, that would do it. But, my finances didn't allow. I got pennies in my pocket, nothing bank. Too much month at the end of the money, if you've ever been there. But in this sort of very frustrating period of my life, wondering what to do, good fortune came my way. I had a chance to meet a very wealthy man. His name was Mr. Schoaf, Mr. Earl Schoaf. A friend of mine had gone to work for him. And he started telling me about this man. He said, meet this man. He's wealthy, but he's easy to talk to. He's got a unique philosophy of life. And he kept going on, and I thought, I've got to meet this man. So I had a chance a little while after that to meet this man, Mr. Schoaf. I was impressed. He was wealthy. But he was easy to talk to. I was so impressed that within a few minutes I said to myself, I'd give anything if I was like him. What would it take? And then I thought to myself, if I could get around somebody like him, and if he would teach me, I would do anything. And that was my good fortune. A few months later, this wealthy man hired me, and I went to work for him, and I spent the next 5 years in his employ. And then, unfortunately, at the end of that 5 years, he died at age 49. But I got to spend 5 years with this remarkable man, and my dream came true. He taught me. He coached me. He taught me the books to read. He taught me the skills and the disciplines. He had changes to make in my language and personality. And the things he shared with me during that 5 years changed my whole life, changed my bank account, changed my income, changed my future. Remarkable. By the time I was 31 years old, I was a miracle. So, how lucky can you get, right, to meet the right person at the right time, who's willing to take the time and the energy to pass along life experiences and put it in understandable so that you can use it like I did. Pretty good fortune for me. Then, 30-plus years ago, I was living in Beverly Hills, California. And one day, a businessman friend, I'd like to have you come tell your story to our service club, the Rotary Club. He said, I know your story. Idaho farm boy makes it to Beverly Hills. But he said, I think my business colleagues would like to hear your story. Arranged one of our breakfast meetings, would you come tell your story? And I said, sure. So I went and told my story, and guess what? They liked it. And my telephone rang, and I got another call. Would you tell that same story? And my telephone rang again. Said, we've heard about the story you've told and the ideas you've shared. Would you come talk to our club? The first thing I know, I'm devoting a piece of my business time to giving these breakfast and luncheon talks. And then one day, a businessman who'd heard my talk about 3 times said, would you come talk to my management and salespeople? He said, if you would, I'd be happy to pay you. And I thought, wow, wouldn't that be something? To share my experiences and get paid? So I agreed to do it, and went and shared my story with his management and salespeople, and I got paid. Little did I know, another fortune for me to translate my ideas and my experiences into seminars and speeches and lectures, and now it's taken me around the world and brought me back to Brisbane. And I'm away by what can happen to a farm boy from Idaho with a few ideas, just simply put, but thoroughly executed, and how dramatically your life can change. That's how I got here, and I thought I would just, brief you a little bit about my story. It's probably more interesting for me than it is for you, but I wanted to hear it again, so I thought I would just, bore you with it. I'm the one that's delighted and impressed about being here today. I don't ask you to be impressed, I'm impressed. From where I started, raised in obscurity, I was broke at age 25. Creditors were calling, saying, you told us the check was in the mail. And then the next 6 years of my life, after meeting a teacher who was willing to share with me, my life dramatically changed. So what I'd like to share with you today is what made the difference in the first 6 years of economic life, between ages 19 and 25. I worked hard, but I wound up broke. I worked hard, but I wound up discouraged. I worked hard, but I wound up what I considered behind after 6 years, right? Pennies in my pocket, nothing in the bank, behind, way behind on my promises. And then the second 6 years of my economic life, I became a millionaire. Now, how do you do that? First 6 differ so drastically from the second 6 years. And what I'd like to do with you, if you're ready to take some notes and ready to go to work, I'd like to share with you what made the difference for me. First 6 years of my economic life, 1995, and what made the dramatic difference in my life between ages 25 and 31. And if you've got some patience to stay here, I know it's getting a bit late, but if you've got some extra patience, take some notes, let me share with you what I think made the difference. Let me give you a formula, first of all, that Mr. Shoaff shared with me, helped turn my life around. Here's what he said. There's usually about a half dozen things. Just make that. Half dozen things makes 80% of the difference. I guess I better stay out here. He said about a half dozen things % of the difference. Now, it's not exactly a half dozen, it's not exactly 80%, but you get my concept. Keep looking for the few things that makes the most difference. And then here's the key part. Then spend most of your time working on those half dozen things that's going to make the most difference in your health, your bank account, your future, how you run the office, sales career, management, school career. Doesn't matter. Keep looking for the few things that's going to matter the most, and then spend the biggest amount of time concentrating on those few things. Here's what we call those few things. Basics, fundamentals. And remember, there's no new fundamentals. In operating your life successfully, there's just a few fundamentals to learn and study. Those fundamentals have been around for the last 6,500 years, recorded history. And once you know them, you know them. And here's what else is exciting. There's no new ones, so you don't have to learn any new fundamentals. Fundamentals are old. Right? Be a little suspicious of somebody who says, I've come along with new truth. Say, no, truth is old. You might have just made the discovery. There might be some new ways to say it, new ways to apply it to your business career, social career, personal career. But see, truth is old, fundamental. Right? Somebody says, I got a new fundamental. Say, no, that doesn't even make sense. Wouldn't you be a little suspicious of somebody who said, we're manufacturing antiques, you've got to come and see our plant and watch us turn out? You'd say, no, that's silly. You can't manufacture antiques. Antiques are what? Old. But let's go through some of the basic fundamentals that makes life work well. Makes life worthwhile. Life experience on the spinning planet. What makes it work well? And if your life doesn't work well, if economics don't work well, if your health doesn't work well, if how you feel about yourself is not working, what do you fix? I've got 5 pieces for you to consider. Let me give you that list of 5. Okay? Here they are. I call them the 5 major pieces to the life puzzle. 5 things to make life work well. Right? Make your income work well. Get the promotions. Make your life work well and all of the equities that you want. 5 major pieces. And if something isn't working well in your life, I'm telling you, if you'll take a close look at these 5 major pieces, you might find the answer to how you can fix it. So that the second 6 years, and if you took a look at your last 6 years, I don't know what you'd come up with. And then if you was to say, hey, I don't want the next 6 years of my life to be like the last 6. I'd like to double, multiply by 2, by 3, by 5, by 10 my results, the next 6 versus the last 6. If that's really what you want, I want you now to seriously consider these half dozen or 5 major pieces I've got to the life puzzle. Here's the first one. Philosophy. Philosophy. Philosophy is what makes us different than dogs and animals and birds and crocodiles and spiders and amoebas. Philosophy. The ability to use our mind, the ability to think, the ability to ponder, the ability to read and study and gather up ideas and information, change the course of our life, change our income, change our future, change our bank account, change anything. The reason why extraordinary ability to change our lives in any manner we wish is because we have the ability to come up with a philosophy that comes out of our thinking, comes out of our mind, comes out of this marvelous thing we've got called the thought process. And that's what most changes our life. Each person's personal philosophy is the major determining factor in how their life works out. And I'd like to have you take that note home. If you really forget the rest, just remember each person's philosophy is the major determining factor in how your life works out. Philosophy, that which makes us different than all other life forms. The ability to think. Philosophy. Okay, now if you would have asked me at age 25, Mr. Rohn, how come you find yourself in such an embarrassing position? Pennies in your pocket, nothing in the bank, creditors are calling. You're waving your big mouth promises. It's not going well for you. You're embarrassed, you're discouraged, and yet you live in America. You're 25 years old, you've been to college 1 year, right? You've got a lovely family, every reason to do. How come you find yourself in such a sorry state at age 25? If you would have asked me that question, it would never have occurred to me to blame my philosophy. It occurred to me. You say, well, Mr. Rohn, what do you suppose were the reasons why you were not doing well at age 25? Well, I didn't blame my philosophy. I found it easier to blame the government. I found it easier to blame taxes. I used to say taxes are too, what? High. Guess what the top tax rate was when I first started paying taxes in America back when I first started working? Answer, 91%. That was the top tax rate. Once your income reached a certain level, all of your income over that certain level was taxed at 91%. So I used to say taxes are too high. Now the top federal tax rate in America is about 33%. But guess what I still hear people say in America? The reason I'm not doing well is because taxes are too... You see, that doesn't make sense. If it's gone from 91% down to 33%, you can't use the old excuse, I'm not doing well because taxes are too high. That won't fly. Blame my negative relatives. They were always putting me down. I used to blame my cynical neighbors. They're just selfish, looking out for themselves. Won't loan you money. I mean, they were on my list. I used to blame the company policy. I used to say, how do they expect you to do well by your family when this is all they pay? I used to blame circumstances. I used to blame the unions and the wage scale. I used to blame prices. I used to blame, it's too hot, it's too cold, it's too difficult. Things don't work well for me. I thought those were the reasons why I was not doing well. And the answer is, that's not true. Here's the major thing my teacher taught me. It's been in your life, Mr. Rohn, the last 6 years. Out there in the marketplace, it's going to be the same the next 6 years. It isn't going to change. Opportunity mixed with difficulty. Sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't go well. But all the stuff that's happening outside, you cannot change, because here's what it's like. It's like the wind that blows. And the wind that blows is the only thing that can take you somewhere. Your income, relationship with your family, the equities of life that you might want. The wind that blows, that's what gives us opportunity. But we cannot blame the wind that blows for where we find ourselves at age 25, pennies in our pocket, nothing in the creditor's calling, embarrassed, behind on your promises. You can't blame the wind that blows. Then what should we blame? And the key phrase for the day, you must blame the set of the sail, which is your personal philosophy. Each person's philosophy is like the set of the sail, the conclusions you've come to, the ideas and information that's come your way, and the decisions you've made about that information. That sets the for you. That is your own personal philosophy. So here's the key to income for the future. It's not the wind that blows. The wind that blows is called opportunity. The wind that blows is called the only thing that can take her. Then you say, how can I arrive where I want to arrive? Where can I finally get, how can I get to where I want to get to? Here's the answer. You must learn to set a better sail. Don't wish for a more favorable wind. We would call that naive. Wish that you had the wisdom. Wish that everybody had the wisdom to have signed up for this seminar today, heard all of these speakers to do what? Information to do what? Set a better sail. That's what the sermon is for on Sunday morning, is to help you set a better sail. That's what books and cassette tapes are for, to give you the information to refine and refine your philosophy. Okay? That's what it's all for. That's why we've got teachers in school, to help us set a better sail. Make sure that we've got the information, got the basics. The wind is going to blow on us all. We're all going to be faced with all of those circumstances out there. The difference is not going to be the wind that blows. The difference is going to be the set of the sail. So now we've got to have ideas and information to help us to grow, set a better sail, think better, make better decisions, come up with better ideas for our income, our future, the equities that we want. So where do we get information and ideas that can help change our life? Let me give you some sources. Just take these notes. Number one, from personal experience. You just got to learn to set a better sail, sometimes just from your own personal experience. Here's one way to learn to do it right. And that's wrong. Now the key is, don't let it take too long. If you've done it wrong 10 years, we suggest that's long enough. We do not suggest 10 more years just to prove a point. No, 10 years enough. When I met my teacher, Mr. Shoaff, I'd been working 6 years between ages 19 and 25. My teacher simply said to me, Mr. Rohn, you've been working 6 years. How are you doing? I said, not very well. He said, I suggest you not do that anymore. What a swift and quick analysis of my current situation. Why wouldn't you now ponder ways to analyze your experience of the last 6 years and see if you can't apply that experience to the next 6 years and make things for your life totally different than it was the first 6 years? I had never thought of that. Learn from your personal experience. My personal experience was not good. He asked me a few simple questions. Let me give you those questions. Just jot these down. Question number one, Mr. Shoaff said, Mr. Rohn, how much money have you saved and invested the last 6 years? And I said, approximately how much do you suppose? 0. He said, who sold you on that plan? I thought, my gosh, the man's right. I'm a nice guy. I love my family. I've been to at least 1 year of college, and I've been working 6 years, but I bought the wrong plan. And I thought, wouldn't it be pitiful to wind up age 40, age 50, nice guy, family, bought the wrong plan. I'm telling you, it's the set of the sail. It's not circumstances. It's not out there that's the problem. I used to say, things cost too much. Here's what my teacher said, Mr. Rohn, let's face the reality. You can't afford it. I thought, what a new way to look at it. I never thought about that. My teacher said, it's not it, Mr. Rohn, that's the problem. It is like it's been for 6,500 years. It isn't going to change for the next 6,500 years. Opportunity mixed with difficulty. Then I asked, well, then how will my life ever change? And here's what he said, if you will change. And I want to give you that promise on this March Day 92. Take this home with you. I came all the way from America to Brisbane to bring you this message, and here it is. If you will change, everything will change for you. Don't wish for things to change outside. It's not going to occur. Night follows day, day follows night. Expansion follows recession, recession follows expansion. The ups follow the downs. It follows opportunity. That isn't going to change. It isn't going to change in the 90s. So how will your life ever change? Just pick up this promise that I give you on this March Day. If you will change and set a better day, do some better reading, pick up some ideas and information, learn from your own experience. I'm telling you, you can set a better sail in the 90s, and you do not care about the wind that blows. You'll be so ready and so equipped to handle any wind, handle any circumstance. It won't matter what the government does. I'm telling you, if you understand this stuff, it doesn't matter what taxes are. It doesn't matter what prices are. It doesn't matter the recession. None of that stuff. Once you understand that all of that is simply the wind that blows. And all you've got to do to let the wind carry you where you'd like to go is simply set a better sail. One of it is learn from your own experiences. Now here's number 2. I call it other people's experiences. That's why we came by today, these speakers, myself, to share with you some of our experiences. Might save you a year. Might save you might save you an empty purse 6 years from now. Might save you having to explain rather than celebrate. That's what we all came by for, share our experiences. Now there's 2 kinds of people to jot this down. Number 1, failures. You got to learn from failures, people that have messed it up. Learn from negative as well as positive. It's too bad failures don't give seminars. Wouldn't that be valuable? A guy that's messed up his life for 40 years. You just say, John, would you come and spend a day with me? I will bring my journal and take good notes. Just tell me how I messed it up. A good-looking guy like you, got a lovely family, every reason for doing well, threw it all away. Give me the notes so I don't make the same mistakes. So number 1, learn from negative. Here's number 2, learn from positive. Somebody that's got some answers, somebody that's done well. Pick up the information to the best of your ability. That's what you're here for, from the positive. Somebody that's done well. Farm boy from Idaho, raised in obscurity. The speakers that were here started from scratch and started from nothing. Now they're able to make this kind of a presentation. You just got to pick up that information. Mother who has magic with her children. Wouldn't you want to know? You say, Mary, if you'll meet me tomorrow morning for breakfast, this neat little cafe, I'm telling you, you'll love it. I'll pick up the tab. And meet tomorrow morning for breakfast. And you say, Mary, how did you get this magic with your children? She says, well, to be honest with you, up until 3 years ago, my kids were out of control. And then I read this book. I went to this seminar in a conversation with a friend who gave me this 1, 2, 3, 4-point program. I'm telling you, I've been practicing those 4 points for the last 3 years. That's how come I've got this with my children. Would that be a good breakfast or not? Would that be valuable information? I'm asking you to look and search for ways and means to let your mind be filled with the ideas that can absolutely change your life and set a better sail. That's why we came by today, right? That's why I came by. I love the stories I've been collecting here. I came to Australia 14 years ago. I've had anyone on this trip say to me around Australia, I attended your lecture 14 years ago. And some of the ideas you shared with me helped to change my life, change my income, change my bank account. Look at my family. Look at my become a millionaire, become wealthy. I'm telling you, I love these stories. That's why I'm back here. Number one, to collect more stories. And number two, to get more stories started. I love it. That's why I'm here, to affect people's lives. I don't need the money. I take the money, but I don't need the money. But guess what I do need? The challenge of seeing if I can't get even better than I was 14 years ago. To come by and share a few ideas and have somebody say to me 1 year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, Mr. Rohn, back in March '92, Brisbane, I was there. And the words you said seemed to click with me that day. And I decided to make some changes. I decided to do some stuff that's forever changed my life. See, that's heavyweight stuff. You can't buy it with money. That's why I'm here. Now, here's some ways to pick up ideas, people that can help change your life. Number one, observe. You gotta watch what's happening. Here's a good watchword for the 90s, ladies and gentlemen. Pay attention. Don't miss anything. Don't miss the tragedy. Don't miss the opportunity. Don't miss the problem. Don't miss the answer. Pay attention all day to what's going on. You'll pick up some valuable information. Let the University of Life teach you today. You don't have to just sign up for a class to learn. Learn from life. Learn from the day. Hey, most people are just trying to get through the day. I'm asking you to get from the day. And this taught me to keep a journal. I started keeping this journal when I was 25 years old. My own journals now make up a significant portion of my own library. Mr. Shoaff said to me, Mr. Rohn, don't trust your memory. If you see something valuable, if you hear something valuable, if you read something valuable, put it in your journal. Throw the magazine away, throw something else away, but keep the notes here. Sunday morning, keep the notes. Listen in class, keep the notes. I'm trying to get kids hooked like me. Be a buyer of empty books. Kids find it interesting I buy an empty book. Especially at my station in life. What did I pay for this one? $26? I mean, kids find that really interesting. You pay $26 for an empty book? And the answer is yes. Here's why. To prompt me to go looking and searching until I find something worth $26 to put in here. And I'm telling you, if you were to look in my journals, now my journals are all private, but if you were to get a hold of one of my journals and look through it, I'm telling you, you would not read very far until you would say, this is worth more than $26. The man is a serious student of his life. He's a serious student of his income. He's a serious student of his future. Looks like he tries his best to set a better... I'm asking you to do the same thing. Okay? Observe and keep track of the good ideas that come your way. Now here's number two. Become a good listener. You got to listen well, okay? And I know it's challenging these days. So many voices want our attention, radio voices and television voices and advertising voices and commercial voices and religious voices and family voices. There's all kinds of voices. And here's what you got to do. Sort through all the voices and find the best ones. Find the ones that have meaning. Tune out the static. Tune out the shallow. Stay for a while with voices of value. Now we some of this stuff on cassette tape so you can stay for a while. We put it in books so you can read for a while. We have a seminar like this so you can come and what? Stay for a while and do some constructive listening. Here's what we've got to teach our kids, parents. We've got to teach our kids the skill of selective listening. Okay? Tune out the shallow. Tune out the evil. Tune in the good and spend some time listening to things that'll build your life, build your future, build your bank account, build your treasure, build your happiness. Okay. Now here's the third one. You got to read all the books. I got no substitute for reading. Got me started on my library when I was 25 years old, my personal development library, my success for the future library. Wow, how important that is. Here's what he said. Key phrase of the afternoon, become self-educated. Not just formal education, self-education. Here's what I've discovered in my own personal experience. Formal education gets you a job. Self-education gets you rich. Formal education make you a living. Self-education make you a fortune. Never cease your quest for knowledge. Never cease your quest for ideas. I didn't learn how to become a millionaire until the second 6 years of my economic life. I never learned it in high school, never learned it in college. I had to pick it up through what we call self-education. Be to search and look for the ideas, to teach yourself what the possibilities are in the marketplace and what the opportunities are and where the dangers are and how you can avoid them and where the possibilities are and how you can maximize them. Okay? Read all the books. I got one of the better libraries, right? I'll admit I haven't read everything in it, but I feel smarter just walking in it. My library. I was smart enough to buy it. Now I got to be smart enough to... Okay. So read the books. Okay? This stuff is easy. I'm telling you, it's not difficult to learn how to change your life. I've been teaching kids in my country for the last 18, 19 years how to be by 40. 35 if you're extra bright. Much sooner if you find a unique opportunity. Because I found a unique opportunity at age 25. I'm a millionaire by the time I won. Didn't wait till 35. But rich by 40, 35 if you're extra bright, much sooner if you find a unique opportunity. And guess what kids want to know? How did you become a millionaire by the time you were 31? Let me give them the key points, how I became a millionaire by the time I was 31. Number one, I lived in America. I mean, that's number one. Australia will do as well as America, no difference. A country that believes in capitalism, start from nothing, build something, plenty of schools, plenty of books, plenty of libraries, plenty of marketplace, plenty of corporations, plenty of teachers, plenty of churches, plenty of ministers, plenty of everything, plenty of banks, plenty of money. What else do you want? Australia's just as good as America when it comes to opportunity. Substitute here Australia for America, but here's how I got rich by the time I was 31. I lived in America. Number two, I found an opportunity. And there's opportunity everywhere. Doesn't matter where, opportunities everywhere. You heard Joe say, most people are missing the chances for opportunity in sales. They just don't look beyond where they are. They don't lift up their eyes and see all the possibilities if they just exert themselves for it. So number two, I found an opportunity. Here's number three, I found a teacher. This Mr. Shof, who was willing to teach me and level with me and tell me the truth, that it was my fault, lack of a set of a good sale the first 6 years, and if I wanted to change, everything would change for my life. That's how I got rich. Now here's the most exciting part about how I got rich by the time I was 31. It was easy. I'm here to tell you it was easy. Somebody says, well, Mr. Rohn, if it's so easy, how come everybody else around you didn't get rich during that second 6 years of your economic life? Here's why. It's easy not to. How else can I share any simpler and any plainer? You say, no, Mr. Rohn, for everybody else around you during that 6 years, it was hard for them. And it was easy for you. That's not true. You can't debate me on that point, this intelligent audience, and win. Let me give you one of the most profound philosophical statements I can possibly give you on this March Day 92. Here it is. The things that are easy to do are also easy not to do. That's the difference between success and failure. That's the difference between pennies and future fortune. That's the difference between health and illness. I'm telling you, the difference is not hard, easy. The difference between two easies. One, easy to. Number two, easy not to. I'm telling you, Australia's easy. It couldn't be any easier than here. This is called country. You just got to take that note home. Australia's easy. Bangladesh is hard. In my country, guess how many people have a library card? Where you can go get the wisdom of the world, change your life, change your future, change your bank account, change your health, change your spirituality, change everything. By the way, how much is a library card in Brisbane? Free. Here's what free is. Easy. I mean, free is easy. It doesn't get any easier than free. Somebody says, well, would you bring it by? Well, no, you've at least got to go get it. Guess how many people in America have a library card? Answer, 3%. 97% couldn't be bothered. 97% won't take the time, even if it's free. Guess how many people can retire when it comes time to retire from the income of their own resources? Answer, 5%. 5% are dependent on the government, dependent on a company. Haven't got what it takes to put together their own personal resources so they can retire from the income of their own personal resources. Only 5%. And here's what I came all the way to Brisbane to share with you today. From the deepest of my heart, here it is. I ask you sincerely today, walk away from the 90%. Walk away. Ed Foreman said it well. Don't talk like they talk. Don't read what they read. Don't go where they go. Don't blame what they blame. Walk away from the 90%. Join the 10%. Find this little book, Rich Man in Babylon. Join the 10%. Get a library card. Join the 3%. Become financially independent. Join the 5%. Walk away from the rest. In all sincerity, I ask you to do that. Okay. This stuff's easy, ladies and gentlemen. Just amend your philosophy. Find this little book. An apple a day. A walk around the block. It doesn't take much. a little bit of refinement of the set of, and you could care less about the wind that blows. Somebody says, are you worried about the recession? The answer is no, not if you've got a library. The answer is no, as long as you've got somebody to teach you how to set a better. What could you care about the wind that blows? Wouldn't make any difference to you from now on. Why? You know how to arrive at any destination, and that's what? Set a better sail. Don't wish for a more favorable wind. We call you naive. Wish for the wisdom to set a better sail. Now here's number 2 of my 5 steps. How I so drastically changed my life from the first 6 years of my economic life, winding up broke. Second 6 years, winding up rich. Here's number 2, attitude. Attitude. First of all, we're affected by what we know. That's philosophy. Second, we're affected by how we feel. That's attitude. Now, we don't start with attitude to change our lives. We start with philosophy. Someone says, well, Mr. Owen, I think attitude will do it. You know, all we need is just to be motivated. And the answer is, well, probably not. Somebody says, just motivate this guy, he'll be all right. I'm telling you, probably not. If a guy's an idiot and you motivate him, now you got a motivated idiot. The answer is no. Here's the key to changing our lives, ladies and gentlemen. It's called philosophy. We start with education, not motivation. Without good education, you don't have anything to be motivated about. First of all, you got to know what? Whether or not you messed up the last 6 years. Mr. Shove said, Mr. Owen, I would suggest to you, you got pennies in your pocket after 6 years of economic activity. He said, I would suggest you messed up. It's not the government that's messed up. It's not the marketplace that's messed up. You've messed up. And that was the truth. Now, he said, you can turn that all around, however, the next 6 years, once you understand where the problem is. Not try to fix what's going on outside. Try to fix what's going on inside, and you can forever change your life. I did that. So first we need education, but now number 2, we do need motivation, we do need attitude, we do need the emotional side, and let me give you a short list on feelings. Here's number 1, it's how you feel about the past. Got to have a good attitude about the past. Here's the best I can advise. Treat the past like a school. Let the past teach you like a schoolmaster. Don't let the past beat you. Don't beat yourself over the head with your past losses, past failures, past mistakes. Let all those go. Just learn from the past. Gather up experience from the past and invest it in the future. Here's number 2. It's how you feel about the future. And here's the best way to feel good about the future. Have it well planned, well designed. Have your goals and dreams well set. There's 2 ways to face the future. 1, with anticipation. 2, with apprehension. Guess how most people face the future? With apprehension, because they don't have it well planned. They don't have it well designed. I'm asking you not to make that mistake. I'm asking you not to stumble into tomorrow with that. I'm asking you to walk confidently into tomorrow, having your promise of the future well planned, well designed by setting your goals. Here's what the future's called, the promise. Now, we all have to pay the price to get the promise, but I'm telling you, the price is easy if the promise is clear. If the promise isn't clear, the price is too difficult to pay. I'm telling you, kids don't mind paying the price for the future, if they can see it. If they can't see it, they don't want to pay. So I'm asking you to design a better promise for your company, design a better promise for the office, design a better promise for your health, design a better promise for a relationship with you and your family. Design the promise. And once you start feeling good about the future because you have it well designed, you can take confident steps every day. Here's number 3. It's how you feel about everybody. You've got to have a good feeling about everybody else besides you. And here's a very practical reason why. You can't succeed by yourself. We all need each other's money. We need each other's ideas. We need each other's cooperation. One person doesn't make a family. One person doesn't make a marketplace. One person doesn't make an economy. One person doesn't make a country. One person doesn't make a symphony orchestra. One person doesn't make a unique chance for all of us to participate. It takes more than one. It takes all of us. And you've got to have a unique sense of appreciation of the all of us that makes the contribution for each of us to change our lives in a manner we wish. But now here's number 4. It's how you feel about yourself. Got to have a good feeling about yourself, personal worth, personal value. And here's the best advice I can give you on that. If I can do it, you can do it. If I can read, you can read. If I can change, you can change. If I can grow, you can grow. If I can become financially independent, you can become financially independent. You've got to understand you're worth as much as I am. If I can read it, you can read it. If I can understand it, you can understand it. If I can let it hit me, change my life, it hit you, change your life, you're no different. You're as valuable as I am. Want you to pick that up, how you feel about yourself. So that's attitude. Number one, we're affected by what we know. Number two, we're affected by how we feel. Here's number three, activity. We're affected now by the disciplines we take. Wisdom alone won't do it, no matter how often you repeat it. A lot of people are into affirmations these days, but that won't do it. Being wise, bring equity to your life. Wisdom must be invested in activity. Wisdom must be invested in discipline, or it produces no life. No matter how often you affirm it. Multi-track, bombard your pre-conscious, subconscious, I'm telling you, it won't do any good. You've got to invest wisdom into labor. You've got to invest wisdom into disciplines, or it produces no new life. And no matter what kind of an attitude you got, unless it's now invested in activity and disciplines that starts to produce, it produces no results. No matter how strong you feel, no matter how much faith you have, no matter how much courage you've got to be invested. Now here's what's important. Make this note. The first 2 points I gave you must be invested in the third one, because the third one now starts to work miracles. The third piece of the process now works miracles. Number three, activity and labor. Labor. The pain of labor. We sometimes refer to it as labor pains. Right? I'm sure personal experience here, but the mothers in the room will tell us, right? It's a unique experience. Why would a potential mother be willing to put herself through what she knows is going to be a painful experience? Here's why. It's the only way to create new life. New life only comes from labor, not from wisdom, not from attitude, not even from faith. Faith does not produce a miracle. Wisdom does not produce a miracle of new life. Faith must be invested in discipline to produce new life. So I'm asking you to look to your disciplines. And here's the disciplines now that can work miracles in your life. Here's number one. Do what you can. Just do what you can. It'll start a miracle process. I promise you. I promise you. Just do what you can. If you can walk around the block, I'm asking you to get it done. If you can eat an apple a day, I'm asking you to get it done. Establish disciplines that'll take you to the good health you want, the income you want, the bank account you want, the promotion you want, the better life you want, good marriage, good friendship, good relationship with your family. Do not neglect the discipline forms the miracle. And expect a miracle when you start working on the disciplines. Number one, do what you can. That'll start a miracle. A miracle is simply something we don't quite understand. Works. All we know is what? It works. You don't need to understand. Just know that it works. Miracles. Do what you can. That's number one. 2,000 years ago, on June 28th, I'm pretty close on this. 2,000 years ago on June 28th, one of Jesus' disciples, now I'm an amateur on the Bible, but let me give you my best shot. One of Jesus' disciples on June 28th, 2,000 years ago, said to Jesus, "It's time to pay our taxes and we don't have any money." That's how come I know it was someone June 28th. In response to this statement, Jesus said to his disciple, "No problem." Now, you got to hang out with people like that. Now, why would Jesus have the audacity to say, "No problem"? Well, word has it, he was a miracle worker. Doesn't that explain it? Of course. If you handed a problem to a miracle worker, what would he have the tendency to say? Problem. You got to hang out with people like that. I belong to a small group. We do business around the world. I'm telling you, these guys are miracle workers. If you handed any one of them a problem, guess what they would say? No problem. How many to solve it? As many as it takes. If they had to consult, how much consulting would they do? As much as it takes. How early would they get up? As early as it takes. How late would they stay up? As late as they have a tendency to say what? No problem. You got to hang out with people like that. What are they? Miracle workers. We'll figure out how to do it. Jesus said to his disciples, "It's going to be no problem, this taxes in them." He said to his disciple that it'll be simple. Just go fishing. It can't be any easier than fishing. Now, he said go fishing to his disciple, and his disciple's name was Peter. And Peter was what? A fisherman. You can't be any more clever than that. I'm telling you, here's what I expect you to do. Do whatever you can do. Don't neglect what you could do. If you could fish, you got to fish. If you want a miracle, you got to fish. Jesus said to his disciple, "No problem, just go fishing. First fish you catch, look in his mouth. It'll solve everything." Peter said, okay. He was used to strange things happening. Peter goes off fishing, catches the first fish, looks in his mouth. Guess what's in the fish's mouth? Coins. Wow, coins. And he starts adding up the value of these coins. Guess how much he added up to? Exactly enough money to pay his taxes and Jesus' taxes. Which, number one, gives you Jesus' position on tax. Right? That's easy. Pay. Now, finding the money we would call what? A miracle. But how does a farm boy from Idaho, broke alive, creditors calling, threatening to come and get my car, drag it rear end up down the street in front of my neighbors? I'm embarrassed. I'm behind on my big mouth promises. I've been to 1 year of college. I live in America. Something isn't going right. How do I go from that to being a millionaire at age 31? I'm telling you, it's a miracle. Where do you find the money? Lord knows where you find the money. But here's all you have to do to get this miracle process. Do what you can. I'm asking you in all sincerity, do not neglect doing what you can. If you can read, read. If you can change, change. If you can call, call. If you can sell, sell. If you can manage, manage. If you can teach, teach. If you can walk around the block, walk around the block. Do not neglect the disciplines that can take you and your life systems to wherever you want to go, all the equities you could possibly enjoy in the period of a life. Do not neglect the disciplines. Number one, just do what you can. Now here's number two that further advances the process of the miracle of disciplines. Number two is do the best you can. Do the best you can. Here's what the best you can do will start to do. Develop skills. Develop skills. Don't just do what you can. If you do what you can, you'll make a living. If you do the best you can make a fortune. Don't just talk. If you just talk, you can help the family hang together. If you skillfully talk, you can help build dreams and build futures. Do not neglect the skills. Number one, do what you can. Number two, do the best you can. Miracles will start to flow into your life. Equities from directions you never thought possible will start coming your way. Do what you can. Number two, do the best you can. Now here's number four in our 5 simple steps. Number 4 is check results often. Results is number 4, check often to see whether you're on track or what? Off track. After 6 years of my economic life, Mr. Shoaff said, Mr. Owen, how much money have you saved and invested? I said 0. Here's what, off track. Shouldn't you take a look every once in a while and see if you're on track or what? Off track. Shouldn't you, check your cholesterol every once in a while and see if you're on track or what? Off track. Shouldn't you weigh yourself every once in a while and see if you're on track or what? Off track. Shouldn't you check your bank to see if you're on track or what? Off track. I'm telling you, you got to take a look and see whether it's going right or isn't going right. You got to take this phrase home. Results is the name of the game. So you got to take a look once in a while and check the score and see if you're winning or what? Losing. See if you're moving up or what? Moving down. See if you're moving in or what? Moving out. I'm telling you, you got to check, you got to check. It's the name of the game, productivity. It's the reason for the seasons, productivity. Ancient story said Jesus walked along one day with his disciples and he saw a fig tree. And as he grew darkly suspicious, he said to his disciples, does that fig tree have any figs? Wow, what an interesting question. Do you think that's an important question? Important enough to be preserved for us to read 2,000 years later? Do you think that's an important question? Does the fig tree have any figs? I'm telling you, for a fig tree, it's an all-important question. His disciples said to Jesus, no, sir, that particular tree does not have any figs. The story said Jesus lost his cool. One of the few times he lost his cool and said, I suggest the tree doesn't have any figs. I suggest you promptly take it out. And he added, why let it take up the desk? I mean, the ground. Either. You got to get all your folks together every once in a while and say, today we're counting the figs to see who gets to stay. Why would we do that? It's the name of the game. How many years do you want your child to spend in 4th grade? Approximately. About one. You say, well, if they're nice kids, would you give them 3 or 4 years to get through 4th grade? You say, no! You got to make better progress than that. That's why we have tests, and that's why we have grades, to see whether you're on track or what? Off track. I'm telling you, we can't let you get very far off track. You'll have to spend another year, You can't do that. You'll have to leave town. I'm asking you to check your bank account. I'm asking you to check your cholesterol. I'm asking you to check your results right now. Check your results and see whether or not you're on track, off track, whether or not you ought to get more books, build a library, become better self-educated, set a better sail, don't wish for a more favorable wind, and thereby start to change. Take full responsibility, ladies and gentlemen. Add it all up every once in a while, and you ask the question, and you answer the question. I don't have to know. It's not important that the world knows how you're doing. It's not important that I know. It's desperately important that you know whether or not you're making progress on track or off track. Now here's the last point. It's called lifestyle. Number 1 was philosophy. Number 2 was attitude. Number 3, the disciplines. Number 4, check results to see how you're doing on track, off track. And here's number 5, lifestyle. And lifestyle is my definition of learning how to live well. Learning how to live well. Economics won't take care of that. Finding shelter won't take care of that. Living in a home won't take care of it. Having some clothes to wear won't take care of it. Living well is a further skill. Mr. Shoaff gave me 2 phrases that changed my life forever. Let me give you those 2 phrases, and I'm about to wrap this up today. 2 phrases. Number 1, Mr. Shoaff said to me, Mr. Owen, if you wish to be wealthy, study wealth. When he said that, I said, my gosh, I don't know anybody that studies wealth. I'm going to learn it. He said, never mind. Now that you've gone to work for me, get this little book, Richest Man in Babylon. I will teach you how to become wealthy. He did teach me. I did get the book. I did become wealthy. I recommend it. I could have studied it sooner. In high school, if they would have offered Wealth 1, Wealth 2, I'd have taken both classes. I wouldn't have waited till age 25. Wealth. What should a child do with $1? Here's one philosophy. It's only a child and it's only $1. What difference does it make? Well, where do you think it all begins? Child with $1. That's art. You say, well, it's only $1 and it's only a child. Let the child spend the whole $1. When would you hope that would stop? You say, well, wait till he's 50 and broke like me, and then, no! Would a child to adopt a philosophy earlier than that? And the answer is yes. If a child wants to spend the whole $1, you got to persuade him with all of your ability not to spend the whole $1. Guess what they'll say? Why not? It's my $1. I say, I know it's your $1, but don't spend it all. They'll say, why not? Say, let me show you why not. You put them in your car, take them to the other side of town, show them why not. Show them where people live that spend the whole $1. A message called visual. Just drive around and say, would you like to live here? Kid says, no. Would you like to live like these people live? Kid says, no. Then you can't spend the whole $1. So take them to the other side of town, unless you already live there, and then just show them around. Truth is truth. And you say, sometimes the truth is pretty devastating. I understand that. But I'm here to tell you, in a 6-year period of time, you can turn it all around. If you'll get the books and listen to the tapes, if you'll read and study and grow and change, I'm telling you, it doesn't have to last 6 years. The next 6 years of your life can be totally different than the last 6, but you've got to take now full responsibility and set a better sail. Don't wish for a more favorable wind. We call that naive. Pick up this idea. Study how to become financially independent, the ability to live from the income of your own personal resources. Now here's the second statement Mr. Shoaff gave me to change my life forever. He said, Mr. Owen, if you're happy, study happiness. Study happiness. I didn't know happiness was a study. My best hope for happiness at age 25 was to just go through the day with my fingers crossed. I didn't know. Here's what I learned, and I've learned it so well since then. Happiness is art. It's not an accident. Happiness is not a hope. It's not a wish. It's not a future. Happiness is learning how to design a happy day, a happy life. Design a happy evening. Design a happy experience. Design the joy that you want. Don't just hope for it. Design it. Fashion it like weaving a tapestry. Economics without joy? How sad. Somebody who's got the money doesn't have the lifestyle? How sad. I'm asking you to be a student of lifestyle, a student of living well, a student in your life unique and worthwhile. The tapestry of life. Friendships. Family. Love affair. Marriage. Enterprise. Do it with style, doing style, by giving it some thought, being creative, how to live well. And guess what? I wish all this for you. I wish it all for you. It's why I came all the way from America to Australia. I'd like for your life to be affected like mine, become financially independent like I had the opportunity to do. And now let me send you home with 4 questions to ponder, and I'm finished my part. And we have this great day today with all these speakers and all this interest. I was so excited about seeing the kids here today. Got a good story for you. Take it to the ones that had to leave early. 2 little boys in school, one bright, the other one wasn't very bright. Teacher gave a test one day, 10 questions. And she's looking at the 2 papers. And to her surprise, the little boy who isn't very bright has 9 of the 10 questions perfect. And the teacher thought, well, that can't be right. He's not that smart. So she looked at the other paper, the little boy who was very bright, and he had answered 9 of the 10 questions perfect. The teacher thought, hey, something's wrong here. Sure enough, the answer to the 10th question was the problem. The little boy who was very bright got to the 10th question and he didn't know the answer. And he was running out of time, so he just quickly wrote down, I don't know the answer to this one, and turned his paper in. Teacher looked at the other paper, little boy who wasn't too bright, and he had answered the 10th question, I don't know either. And, thank you. Which I guess means don't cheat, right? It never seems to work out well. Anyway, give me these 4 questions now to take home, and I'm finished. I'm on my way to Auckland, and then I'm on my way home, and I'm on my way around other parts of the world. Last year I lectured in Japan and Israel and Spain and Germany and France and Mexico and Canada and Australia, New Zealand. I've been to South Africa and Taiwan. Idaho gets to travel the world. But I'm glad I had the opportunity to stop off in Brisbane today, give you a piece of my experience and a piece of my heart and soul, and tried my best to make the mystery and the mixture meaningful to everybody here today. But take these 4 questions home. These are powerful questions. Here's number 1, why? Why should you read? Why should you change? Why should you grow? Why earn that much? Why share that much? Why do that much? Why make that many friends? Why learn that many skills? Why put yourself out that much? Why build that big an enterprise? Why go that far? Why do all that? Why? Big question, why? Kids are always saying what? Why? Good question, why? But I'm telling you, whys can turn your life around. If you've got a strong enough why, you can do anything. And I don't know what all of your whys are here today. Try harder, why you should read more, develop the skills, and do better. I don't know what all your whys are. If we had a chance to talk one-on-one, I might discover some of your whys. I met a beautiful, accomplished lady in New York City a few years ago. Wow, she was something else. Vice president of this jewelry company that brought me in. I came in and did some lectures, making big money. But she was a superstar. I finally found out a little bit about her story. I said, how did you get here? She never went to college. She never went to university. I said, how did you get here? Vice president, New York, jewelry company, big income. I said, how did you get here? She said, well, let me tell you part of the story. She said, a few years ago, I was a young mother, and one day I asked my husband for $10. And he said, what for? She said, by the time that day was up, I promised myself I would never ask again. Wow. She said, I started looking for opportunity, found it. I started looking for skills, and I found it. And she said, I worked hard on personal development, finally got to where I am today, vice president, making big money, New York. She said, actually, Mr. Rohn, from that day until this, I have never, ever had to ask again. Wow, sometimes the why can change your life. But now here's one of the better whys, and I'm question, why not? I mean, what else are you going to do with your life? Why not see how much you can read, how many skills you can develop, how far you can go, how much you can earn, how much you can share, how strong you can be, how powerful you can be, how sophisticated, what a good life you can live. Why not? Why not? Why not? Hey, you've got to stay here till you go. I mean, what else are you going to do? Why not do it all, see it all, have it all? Now, here's my most important question. I came all this way, flew all night to get here. I don't need another airplane ride to stand in line anymore. But I did need this opportunity to come on this March day and talk to you from my heart today. And here's my most important question. Why not you? Farm boy from Idaho, the question for you is, why not you? You've got plenty of stories here in Australia. If we paraded them across this platform today and they told their stories, guess what they would wind up by saying? Why not you? I did it. What? Not you. I turned my life around. Why not you? I'm asking you to pick up that question sincerely from me today. Why not you? Pick up the stories. Pick up the examples. Very close friend of mine is Mark Hughes of Herbalife fame. Mark Hughes, one of the most dramatic American stories I know of in the 20th century. Mark Hughes was on the tough side of town in Los Angeles. Got involved with drugs as a kid, managed somehow to escape. Got so interested in helping other kids get off drugs, he became a fundraiser. And even as a teenager, raised staggering amounts of money. One of his major clients was Ronald Reagan, who became President of the United States. That's a story in itself. Mark Hughes, the judge had to decide who he was to live with when he was a little kid. Mark never met his father until he was 20 years old. And when he met him, he didn't like him, unfortunately. Never met him again for 9 more years. I was in on the second time. They decided to at least try to be friends. Now they're very good friends. But see, that's a tough way to grow up. Mark Hughes only went to the 9th grade in school. He never finished high school, never went to college, never went to university. When he was 18 years old, his mother died from a drug overdose. Not something you want to tell around town. How many strikes does a young kid need? Mark was only 18 years old. His mother was only 36. He could have said, hey, I've got enough strikes against me. I don't need to do well. But for some reason he didn't. When his mother died, she was trying to lose a few pounds, got hooked on the diet drugs, and then she got hooked on the sleeping pills. And then she started seeing 2 doctors, 3 doctors, 5 doctors behind their backs, keep her habit going. And then she died at age 36. When she died, Mark said, you know, there's got to be a better way to lose a few pounds than to get hooked on the drugs. He said, I'm going to find a better way. Started studying nutrition. I met him shortly after. Couldn't believe what he learned. And then he made a big discovery, herbs. Herbs. Got so excited about the study of herbs, made trips to China as a kid. Finally got this little formula put together where Herbalife got its name and started from scratch. His grandmother was his first customer. He said, Granny, you're fat. You got to get on my new formula here. He's got a better presentation today. I mean, you know, that was it back then. And that started the whole company. Now he's done what? $4 billion in sales, doing business in 50 countries around the world. Mega rich beyond anybody's wildest imagination. I think they've set a goal this year to do 400 million. The kid from the tough town. Unbelievable. Now he's mega rich, lives in Beverly Hills, drives a Bentley, got all the trappings of a superstar and a wealthy, wealthy man. He's still only 35 years old, does business around the world. If Mark was here to tell his story, when he wrapped it up, guess what he would say? I did it, why not you? From the tough side of town, from the 9th grade dropout, if he can do it, you can do it. If any one of us can do it, I'm telling you, everybody in this room can do it. I pick that up. Why not you? Now, here's my last question, and I'm finished. Why not now? This second year of the last decade of the 20th century, what a good time to get it together, build a library, do accelerated learning, do some accelerated changing, right? Do some accelerated growing, set a better sail these next few years, and I'm telling you, you will sail into the 21st century. New equities, some new treasures, some new values, some new friendships, some new fortunes. I'm just asking you to do that. Why not now? No. And my last comment is this: ask for God's help. We could all use a little help. God says, I'll take care of making the tree if you'll just plant the seed. Wow. And I think that's, ladies and gentlemen, let's pick up our side of it and let's march into the next few years with a new set of a sail, and let's see if we can't make a difference in Australia and thereby affect the rest of the world. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a pleasure.